Welcome to Dream Story, a quiet place where the world slows down and sleep arrives like a gentle tide. Tonight, we drift toward a forgotten coastline where waves move like lullabies and the wind carries old songs. At the edge of that shore, a lighthouse stands alone, tall and still, its golden beam turning softly across sea and sky. No ships pass anymore, but the light remains, not to guide the lost, but to remember them. Let this be your moment to let go. Breathe deeply. Set down the weight of the day. And if you enjoy these calm journeys through time and dreams, please do subscribe. It helps keep the light on. Let's begin. The story begins at the edge of a coastline no map remembers, a place suspended gently between memory and mist. The sea here doesn't crash, it sighs. Its waves roll in and out like soft breathing, lapping against dark, smooth stones scattered along the shore like forgotten thoughts. The beach is steep and narrow, bordered by wind-shaped cliffs rising into a velvet blue sky. The sun has long set, but twilight lingers, that in-between hour where the world pauses. Above, stars begin to bloom, delicate and slow, like flowers remembering how to open. A winding path carved into the cliff ascends gently upward. It's a path worn smooth by footsteps no longer present, not a soul in sight. Yet the trail feels recently used, as if someone just passed through. Grass grows between the stones, dew-kissed and silver. The wind here smells of salt, old paper, and candle wax. At the top of the cliff, the lighthouse rises, tall, weathered, and serene. Its stone walls are bleached by time and sea, but they stand firm, and from its crown, a golden light turns in a slow, endless arc. The light makes no sound, yet its glow feels like a voice, not speaking, but remembering. Beside the lighthouse, nestled into the stone, is a small cottage. Smoke curls softly from its chimney. Curtains shift in the window, moved either by breeze or by the gentle hand of someone unseen. A warm orange light flickers inside, casting the suggestion of comfort and waiting. No one ever seems to enter or leave, but the home is never empty. Locals, when they speak of it at all, say the lighthouse once guided dream ships, vessels not made for water, but for sleep. And though those ships no longer pass, the light never fails. The keeper, they whisper, remains. Tonight, it is you who walks the path. Whether you've come before or this is your first visit, something in the air welcomes you back. The sea hums its quiet rhythm. The light turns once more, and the journey begins. The evening sky leans gently into twilight as you find yourself standing at the edge of a winding cliff path. The air is cool but soft, carrying a salt-tinged breeze that brushes lightly against your skin. Around you, the world begins to hush. The waves below retreat into a gentle murmur, their crashing softened to a distant lullaby. The path ahead is paved with rounded pebbles, smoothed over by countless footsteps long past, their shapes worn like old memories pressed to stone. They shimmer faintly in the fading light, as if each pebble holds a sliver of the sea's own quiet heart. You take a step forward, and beneath your feet the stones whisper an unspoken welcome, like the hush of a secret being shared between old friends. Your footsteps do not echo. Instead, they dissolve slowly into the cool evening mist that begins to gather at the path's edges. Above, the sky shifts from soft coral to deepening blues. The first stars emerge timidly, flickering like shy lanterns caught between sea and sky. The horizon blends seamlessly into the water's curve, the line between earth and ocean blurred by the gathering twilight. With each step, your senses awaken to the quiet poetry of this place. The salt air carries a faint scent of wild thyme and seaweed, mingling with the faint sweetness of honeysuckle trailing along low bushes. Somewhere, a nightingale begins its slow song, a clear, soft melody that drifts through the air, weaving gently into the rhythm of your breath. The cliffside bends gently, and the path narrows as it hugs the rocky edge. Smooth black stones border your way, polished by waves that reach hungrily toward the land. You pause to watch the water below, where silver glimmers ripple like strands of moonlight tangled in a slow dance. Around you, the landscape feels both ancient and timeless. Twisted driftwood forms natural sculptures along the shore, their grain etched with the stories of countless tides. The rocks beneath your feet hold the cool memory of countless dawns, their surfaces warm from the day's sun, now fading. Your footsteps fall into a soft rhythm, steady, calm, unhurried. There is no rush here. Time seems to stretch and fold like the waves themselves, curling back upon themselves in endless repetition. Ahead, the path climbs slightly, leading through a stand of gnarled trees that lean out toward the sea. Their branches twist like fingers reaching for the horizon, leaves shimmering faintly with the last breath of daylight. The bark is rough beneath your hand as you reach out, grounding yourself in this quiet moment. A low fog begins to creep along the ground, weaving tendrils around your ankles like cool silk. It carries with it the faint, elusive scent of rain, fresh earth, and moss mingled with salt spray. You breathe deeply, feeling the mist seep into your skin, softening the edges of the world. The distant sound of waves grows quieter still, replaced by the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft footfalls of your journey. A pair of owls call to each other in the distance, their voices weaving between the cliffs like ghostly echoes. As you continue, the sky deepens to navy, and the stars gather, bold and bright. The path leads you to a small clearing, a quiet plateau where the land seems to pause and breathe. Here, the stones become larger and flatter, worn smooth by time, perfect for sitting. You lower yourself onto the warm rock, feeling the steady pulse of the earth beneath you. Above, the vast sky stretches wide and deep, a canvas painted with stars. The constellations shift imperceptibly, telling stories older than memory. Around you, the air is still. The world holds its breath. Your heartbeat slows, syncing with the rhythm of waves far below, their lullaby threading through the night. The scent of sea salt mingles with the whisper of pine and the faintest hint of lavender drifting from unseen blooms. Somewhere nearby, the soft glow of a firefly flutters, pulsing gently like a distant beacon. You close your eyes, letting the cool night air fill your lungs. With each breath, the silence grows deeper, not emptiness, but fullness. A calm presence settles over you, wrapping around your shoulders like a soft shawl. Memories begin to rise, faint, fragile things. A distant shore bathed in golden light, the touch of a hand, warm and steady, the scent of a long forgotten rain. These echoes drift through your mind like waves upon the tide, never demanding attention, simply existing alongside the stillness. You feel the weight of the day dissolve, worries slipping away like pebbles cast into the sea. Your muscles relax, your shoulders drop, and the path beneath you becomes less a journey and more a homecoming. Slowly, you rise again, carrying the quiet grace of the moment with you. The path continues, inviting you onward through the hush of night, beneath the stars, wrapped in the gentle arms of the sea and sky. Each step you take is soft, deliberate, a meditation on presence and peace, and the path of pebbled silence carries you deeper into the dream. As you walk on, the pebbles beneath your feet seem to hum softly, a subtle vibration you feel more than hear. It is a sound like the ocean's heartbeat, steady and unyielding. Your fingers trail along the rough bark of a nearby tree, feeling its ridges and grooves as if touching the history of the coast itself. Ahead, a gentle curve reveals a patch of wildflowers nestled between rocks. Their petals open slowly, catching the faintest glimmers of starlight. They release a scent both sweet and earthy, like the mingling of rain and honey. You pause to breathe it in, letting the fragrance mingle with the salt air. A sudden breeze stirs, carrying the faintest echo of a forgotten song, words lost but melody lingering. You think you might catch a phrase or two, but the wind keeps the secret, swirling it away among the branches. With every step, the cliff seems to lean closer, cradling the path like a quiet guardian. The sound of waves dims further, replaced by the soft flutter of wings as a flock of seabirds lift into the night, their silhouettes fading into the darkening sky. The path bends once more and opens onto a small beach, where the stones give way to fine sand cooled by night. You step down onto it, feeling the grains shift beneath your toes. The ocean stretches wide before you, a vast mirror reflecting the moon's silvery glow. The waves whisper ancient tales, stories of travelers and dreamers long gone. You walk slowly along the shoreline, the cool water brushing against your ankles, tracing delicate patterns that disappear as quickly as they come. Somewhere far out, the faint outline of a lighthouse can be seen, its light a steady pulse in the night. You settle onto a smooth boulder nearby, watching as the stars will overhead in silent procession. Your breath deepens, slow and even, as your body melts into the quiet rhythm of the coast. In this moment, there is nothing but peace. No past, no future, only the gentle embrace of night and the steady heartbeat of the sea. The path of pebbled silence has carried you here, And here you remain, safe, calm, and held by the soft arms of the world. Beyond the winding cliff path, nestled in a quiet hollow beside the steadfast lighthouse, lies a secret garden, a sanctuary hidden from the world. Its entrance is framed by a delicate arch of ancient stone, cloaked in ivy that trails lazily, as if reluctant to let you enter. The scent here changes immediately, away from salt and sea spray, replaced by the earthy perfume of rich soil mingled with faint whispers of candle smoke and the lingering freshness of old rain. You step inside, feeling as though you've crossed a threshold into another realm, a world caught between waking and dreaming, held in soft twilight even though the sky above is deep night. The garden breathes around you, alive yet hushed, like a place waiting patiently for a secret to be shared. The plants here are unlike any you've seen before. Strange flowers bloom only after the sun's last rays have faded, their petals unfolding in slow, deliberate rhythms. Some emit a pale, silvery glow, bathing the nearby leaves in gentle light, while others shimmer in rich, velvety blues and purples that seem to drink in the darkness, holding it close like a treasure. You notice one cluster of delicate blossoms pulsing faintly, as if breathing in time with the quiet pulse you feel stirring within yourself. The paths underfoot are soft and winding, bordered by moss so thick it feels like velvet beneath your steps. Each stone lining the way is worn smooth, bearing the marks of countless journeys long ago, yet their edges remain softened by creeping tendrils of wildflowers. Ferns spread their emerald fronds like ancient scrolls, each leaf unfolding with intricate patterns, while night orchids hang heavy and fragrant, their sweet perfume drifting lazily through the still air. As you wander deeper, the faint sound of water draws your attention. Somewhere nearby, a small fountain spills quietly over smooth stones, the gentle cascade a lullaby of liquid silver that blends seamlessly with the distant whisper of waves crashing below. The water sings without words, a soothing rhythm, steady and slow, grounding you more deeply with every breath. Although the keeper remains unseen, you sense him everywhere, in the steady watchfulness of the garden, in the subtle shifts of air that brush your skin, in the quiet warmth that seems to follow your footsteps. His presence is not intrusive, but profoundly reassuring, like the comforting touch of a familiar hand or the memory of a long-lost song that suddenly stirs within your chest. You pause beside a bed of moonflowers, their broad white petals open wide, as if drinking the soft light of the moon itself. Their cool silkiness brushes gently against your fingertips, delicate and soothing, a tender reminder of quiet nights and gentle care. The moonflowers seem to pulse with an ancient energy, a slow, steady heartbeat that mirrors the rise and fall of your own breath, connecting you to the slow rhythms of the earth and sky. Nearby, tall foxgloves stand like sentinels, their tubular flowers glowing faintly violet in the dim light. The scent here deepens, richer and warmer now, a blend of beeswax, old wood smoke, and something softer, like a whispered lullaby carried on a breeze. You breathe in deeply, letting the fragrance fill your lungs, anchoring you in the present moment and the gentle peace that surrounds you. The path curves to a small clearing where the garden seems to pause, holding its breath in reverent silence. In the center stands an ancient oak tree, its massive, gnarled branches reaching upward in twisted, graceful arcs. The bark is rough and deeply furrowed beneath your hands, cool and solid, a reminder of strength and endurance through countless seasons. Beneath the oak, a stone bench rests quietly, cushioned by thick moss and fallen petals. You settle down, feeling the cool solidity beneath you and the steady support of the tree above. The garden hums softly around you, the faint rustle of leaves, the occasional flutter of a moth's wings, the distant call of a night bird, whose song is both familiar and strange. Here, and the air is heavy with peacefulness, thick and slow, like honey melting on the tongue. Your thoughts begin to slow, untangling gently like the vines that coil around the bench's legs. Memories drift past, not your own, but impressions carried on the breeze. A child's laughter echoing from long ago, soft footsteps through dew-damp grass, the warmth of a hand resting gently on a shoulder. These fragments do not cling or demand. They float past like petals carried on a slow-moving stream. With your eyes closed, you sink deeper into the stillness. The scent of rain-soaked earth and candle smoke wraps around you like a familiar shawl, comforting and safe. Your breath deepens, matching the slow, steady pulse of the garden itself, the heartbeat of the earth beneath your feet, the rhythm of the stars above. Far off, the lighthouse's golden beam sweeps across the sky in slow, graceful arcs, its light touching the garden briefly before moving on. The keeper's watchful presence feels like a warm embrace, a silent promise that this place and you are safe. Time seems to soften here, stretching out like the petals of the moonflowers. You are no longer rushing, no longer chasing or fleeing. You are simply here, now, present. Your body relaxes fully, muscles melting, tension ebbing away like the tide. Your mind quiets, thoughts thinning to a calm stream that flows steadily and gently. When you finally rise, the garden seems to exhale, the flowers closing softly as if in farewell. The path beckons, winding upward beneath the stars, leading you back toward the lighthouse, back toward the light and the silent watch of the keeper. You step forward with a calm heart and steady breath, carrying with you the quiet strength and gentle mystery of this hidden garden. The scent of old rain and candle smoke lingers in your memory, a gentle reminder that some places grow not just in the earth, but within the quiet chambers of the soul. And as you move onward, the garden's soft secrets whisper behind you, lingering like a lullaby sung by the night itself. The path ends here, at the base of the lighthouse, where ancient stones meet weathered wood in a quiet embrace. Before you stands the tall, round tower, solid, worn, yet dignified, its whitewashed walls streaked with salt and time. A heavy wooden door waits, framed by climbing ivy whose leaves catch the soft glow of the lighthouse turning light above. You reach out and press your hand against the rough surface. The wood is cool beneath your palm, worn smooth in places by countless hands before yours. It hums faintly, like a low, steady breath, steady and unhurried. Slowly, you push the door open. It creaks, a soft, tired sound that stretches through the quiet air. A welcome whispered in a language without words. Dust motes swirl gently in the golden circle of light, spilling through the threshold, catching the air's stillness like tiny stars suspended in amber. You step inside. The scent of aged timber and old stone fills your senses, a mingling of salt air, worn leather, and the faintest trace of candle smoke, still lingering from evenings long past. The air here is cool, but not cold. It holds the quiet warmth of countless memories folded gently into the walls, like whispers pressed between pages of an ancient book. Your footsteps fall softly on worn wooden planks, their grain creaking beneath your weight. The sound slow and steady like the ticking of a forgotten clock. Each step echoes lightly, a reminder that this place has stood still through countless nights and days, watching, waiting. The interior is simple yet full of subtle detail. The walls are lined with weathered photographs, black and white portraits faded at the edges, faces blurred by time, but still watching, still present. You see a young couple standing close on a rocky shore, a solitary figure leaning on a railing, eyes cast out to sea. Each image holds a story, a fragment of a life once lived frozen here in quiet reverence. You move deeper, passing under a low wooden beam etched with carvings, delicate spirals and stars, patterns worn smooth by time. The light above you turns slowly, casting shifting shadows that dance like ghosts, soft and gentle, brushing your skin with memories you don't quite understand. Ahead, a narrow staircase spirals upward, its steps steep but inviting. The railing is smooth, cool under your fingers as you begin to ascend. With every step, the sound changes, the creak of wood, the whisper of your breath, the distant hum of the lighthouse's great lens turning above. Halfway up, you pause in a small landing where a window frames the dark ocean beyond. The waves ripple softly under the moonlight, their steady rhythm like a heartbeat felt through the floorboards. A single candle burns on the sill, its flame steady and unwavering despite the gentle breeze that stirs the glass. You watch the flame flicker and sway, a small beacon of warmth in the cool night. The light seems to reach out, touching your skin with a gentle golden glow. And for a moment, you feel a quiet connection between the candle's flame, the lighthouse's glow, and the slow pulse of your own breath. Continuing upward, the staircase narrows, each step slower than the last, as if the tower itself asks you to savor this slow ascent. Dust clings to the corners, soft and light as powder, disturbed only by your careful footsteps. Here the air grows stiller, thicker with silence and the soft weight of time. At the top, the door to the lantern room waits, its wood painted a deep blue, worn smooth by countless hands. You reach out and turn the brass knob, cool and heavy in your palm. The door opens with a faint sigh, and you step inside. The lantern room is bathed in gentle light, warm and golden, spilling from the great glass lens that crowns the tower. The lens glows softly, casting long, slow beams that reach out over the sleeping sea, turning in perfect, measured arcs. Inside this quiet space, time feels different, stretched, and malleable. The air smells faintly of oil and old glass, of quiet vigil kept through storm and calm. Shadows pool in the corners, soft and deep, while the center holds a light that never fades. You move slowly around the room, your steps soften by thick woven rugs, feeling the stillness settle deep within. Around you, shelves hold old instruments, brass compasses, maps folded with care, logbooks bound in cracked leather. Each holds a story, a record of journeys made, of nights spent watching horizons for ships that never came. You pick up one logbook, its pages yellowed and delicate. The handwriting inside is flowing, elegant, but with pauses and smudges, like memories caught in ink. You read lines that speak not of dates or destinations, but of feelings, longing, hope, waiting, and quiet surrender. The keeper's words feel like a soft lullaby, sung not to you, but to the sea itself. Each entry folds time gently around you, pulling you deeper into the calm space between waking and dreaming. As you close the logbook, your eyes drift to the window. Beyond, the night sky is vast and deep, studded with countless stars that shimmer like distant fires. The lighthouse's beam sweeps slowly, a silent guardian of this vast expanse, watching over forgotten dreams and gentle memories. You take a deep breath, the cool, salty air filling your lungs, and you feel a quiet stillness settle in your chest, a softness you didn't know you needed, but now cannot imagine living without. In this place, every creak, every whisper of dust, every glimmer of light holds a story. Stories not told in loud voices, but in gentle sighs, in pauses between breaths, in the quiet spaces where time itself seems to breathe. You sit on a worn wooden bench near the lantern, the wood warm from years of use, and close your eyes. The lighthouse hums softly around you, the slow turning of the lens, the distant crash of waves below, the whisper of wind through cracked panes. The stillness carries you. You are no longer outside observer, but part of the watch, part of the quiet heartbeat of this place that waits, patient and eternal. Here, you are invited to simply be. No hurry, no destination, just the calm threshold of stillness. When you rise, the logbook is left open on the bench, its pages fluttering gently as if breathing. The door behind you closes softly, carrying the sound of your departure like a quiet echo, and the lighthouse stands, its light turning slowly once more, steady, patient, waiting for no one. At last, you reach the spiral staircase that leads to the very top of the lighthouse, the lantern room. Its iron rails are cool to the touch, and the air carries the faint scent of warm brass, old oil, and sea salt. You begin to climb. With each winding step, time seems to slow, not stop, but stretch, like taffy pulled long and thin. The soft groan of the metal under your feet doesn't echo, not in the way sound normally does. It lingers instead, like a memory refusing to be forgotten. Light pulses dimly above, golden and steady, casting long shadows that slide up the walls like forgotten dreams rising from the past. At the top, a rounded hatch door sits closed. You press your palm to its surface, not to push, but to feel. It's warm. There's something alive here, not in the usual way, but in the way a place can remember, can wait, can still hope. The door creaks open with a gentle sigh, and there it is, the lantern room. You step inside and feel the shift immediately. Time loosens, like shoelaces untying in a dream. The great lens, massive, circular, and finely cut, rotates in a slow, endless turn. It glows not from flame or filament, but from something softer, something older, something like moonlight distilled into memory. The room is ringed with narrow windows, and beyond them, the sea stretches in every direction, an endless, silent ocean under a star-pierced sky. But here, inside this sacred space, it is not just night. It is all nights at once. A light passes over you once, and suddenly you remember something you never lived. You're standing at this very spot, but years ago. The glass is clearer, the room brighter. You hear laughter behind you, light and real. And when you turn, there's someone else in the room, someone you've never met, yet somehow know. Their face is soft, blurred by time, but their presence is familiar. Do you see it? They ask, pointing beyond the windows. You do. Ships, hundreds of them, glittering like stars, gliding across the water without sails. They float just above the waves, their hulls glowing faintly, casting trails of silver light behind them. The sea is alive with movement, not chaotic, but rhythmic, like breathing. They came every night. The voice whispers again. When dreams still needed direction, you blink. The room is empty again. You're still alone, but the moment remains, folded like a pressed flower in the pages of your mind. You walk slowly around the circumference of the lantern room. Along the walls are plaques and carvings, some half faded by time. One reads, "Light for the lost, memory for the found." Another, "Here, you are never alone, only briefly unseen." A small wooden chair rests in one corner, tucked beside an old telescope mounted on brass legs. It's aimed not at the sea, but at the stars. You sit in the chair and peer through the glass. You see yourself, not as you are, but as you were long ago, standing on a hill beneath a different sky. Or was it a dream? Were you a child again? Or someone else entirely? Time shifts once more, and the lines between self and memory, real and imagined, blur. You hear voices, soft and echoing, not frightening, but echoing like a lullaby sung from another room. They say things you cannot make out, yet you understand them all the same. I remember the way your shadow stretched along the railing. One voice says, like it was reaching for tomorrow. I watched you climb the stairs every night, says another, even when you didn't know you were dreaming. You rise and walk to the lens itself. It continues its eternal rotation, casting arcs of golden light into the vast nothingness beyond. You realize something then, something both soothing and strange. The light isn't for others, not anymore. It's for you, a reminder, a guide, a keeper of your inner shores. And as you stand before it, the light touches you once again, gently, slowly, like the hand of someone you love and miss, but cannot name. And this time, when it does, you feel weightless. You are a memory. You are a dream. And for a brief, shimmering moment, you are the light itself. You close your eyes. You are still in the room, but also everywhere the light has touched. Every coastline, every garden, every lonely hilltop where someone waits in the quiet. And then, just as gently, the moment fades. The world returns to stillness. You open your eyes. The lens turns on. The sea remains below. But something in you has shifted, not lost, not broken, just softly altered. You walk once more around the room, brushing your fingers over the window panes, pausing before the small telescope, the chair, the inscriptions. You pause once more by the hatch. You look back. The room is not empty. It is full of all the moments that ever happened here, and all the ones that never quite did. You descend the stairs slowly, each step a breath, each breath a heartbeat, and somewhere above, the lens turns on, still waiting, still shining, for those who remember, and those who don't yet know they have forgotten. The air is quiet here, the kind of quiet that feels thoughtful, not empty, like a breath held in reverence. You've climbed down from the lantern room, your footsteps slow, your thoughts even slower. Something about the top of the tower, the great lens, the way the light slipped through memory and made you remember things you're not sure ever happened, has made you softer inside, a little more open, a little more still. And now, as you step into the room just beneath the lantern, a warm hush welcomes you. Dust floats through beams of golden light, catching on the slow-turning shadows like fireflies caught in syrup. This room is different. You feel it the moment you cross the threshold. The walls are lined with shelves, not bookshelves exactly, though some do carry volumes, so old their titles have faded from the spines. But most of the shelves are filled with little drawers, some wide, some narrow, each one labeled not with names or dates, but with words like longing, peace, departure, candlelight, the feeling of watching someone leave, the sound of a voice remembered. There's a desk in the middle of the room, made of smooth, sea-worn driftwood. Upon it sits a single object, a leather-bound logbook, slightly open as if someone had only just stepped away. You pause. Your fingers hover over the cover. You don't feel like you're intruding. Somehow, this feels like an invitation, quiet and personal, like someone whispering, "You may look, if you wish." So you open the book. It doesn't begin like most journals. There is no title page, no date, only a short inscription, written in neat script. This book is not for recording time, but for witnessing feeling. Let each entry be a doorway to something tender. The first entry is labeled simply, weightlessness. It was the moment after the storm passed. The sea stilled. I stood outside the lighthouse, barefoot on the stones. The clouds broke open above me. I felt nothing and everything at once, and the light turned slowly, sweeping over the waves like a hand brushing hair from a sleeping brow. I did not speak. There was no one to hear. But I remember thinking, this is what it feels like to be unburdened. As you read, you feel the sensation swell inside you, as if the keeper's memory has become yours. You can feel the cool stone beneath bare feet. You can hear the wind just after it stops being wild. That gentle hush. You turn the page, holding a cup of warmth. It was deep night. The wind was loud outside, but inside, the fire crackled and hummed. I made tea, not for anyone, just because the kettle asked for it. I sat in the armchair with a chipped porcelain cup in my hands and watched the shadows dance on the walls. The tea smelled of fennel and honey. I do not remember how long I sat there, but I do remember the comfort of the cup in my palms, the small heat, the tiny weight, the way it gave me permission to rest. You feel it too. Even now, without a cup in your hands, your body responds. Your shoulders ease. Your breath deepens. You imagine the warmth of the tea, the softness of the firelight flickering across your face. You imagine yourself in that chair, not alone, just quiet, present. Another page. The memory that wasn't mine. Sometimes the dreams that come aren't mine. I saw a child running through a field of tall grass, laughing. A woman stood by a wooden fence, waving. The air smelled of early autumn, leaves and earth and apple skin. I woke with tears on my face. I don't know whose memory it was, but I was grateful to borrow it. You linger on that one. There's something beautiful about carrying someone else's joy, even for a moment. A dream so vivid, it leaves a tenderness behind. You don't need to know the people. It's enough to feel what they felt. You realize then, this logbook is less a journal and more a map, not to places, but to emotions. A quiet archive of the heart. The entries go on, each one opening something in you, like the gentle turning of a music box key, waiting without expectation to keep the light turning, even when no one is coming. The sound of rain on glass at midnight. I forgot what I was thinking and just listened. The door left unlocked, an invitation to return, even if no one ever does. A blanket still holding body heat, a trace of someone's sleep, felt without being seen. Each page offers a kind of emotional echo, not loud, not dramatic, just real, gentle, honest. And as you read, your body continues to slow. Your heartbeat moves like the waves you heard outside, unhurried, rhythmic, familiar. The words soothe you, not just because they're soft, but because they feel true. You're not just listening to someone else's memories. You're remembering your own, not scenes, but feelings. That afternoon light on your face, that silence after goodbye, that smell of something warm baking somewhere nearby. Eventually, you close the logbook, not because you finished. There are still many entries left, but because you feel full, as if the book has given you exactly what you needed tonight. You place your hand on the leather cover one last time, and in that stillness, you feel the keeper's presence, not seen, not heard, but deeply felt. A calm reassurance, like a lighthouse beam passing once, then again, over a wide and endless sea. He is not watching you. He is simply with you. There is no need to speak. You stand gently and look around the room one last time. Each drawer, each label, they all remain. Perhaps one day you'll open one. Perhaps you'll leave behind your own feeling, tucked into a corner of the keeper's archives. But not tonight. Tonight, you walk slowly to the doorway, the air sweet with the scent of paper and candle smoke. Your hand brushes the edge of the doorframe as you pass through, and for a moment, you feel like you're stepping not into another room, but into a deeper part of yourself. The light continues to turn above you. The sea murmurs below, and somewhere, just beyond reach, the keeper writes again, not to mark time, but to remember feeling. The dream sea stretched out before you, a horizonless tide of memory and imagination. From the edge of the lantern room's spiral stair, you had begun your descent, not downward into the earth, but deeper into the story that lives within this place. A place where time doesn't move as it should, and where the sea doesn't merely reflect the sky, but remembers it. You find yourself standing in a room that was once used for watching. A wide half-moon window opens out toward the waves. No glass separates you from the soft wind rolling in from the ocean. Salt air mixes with the quiet scent of pages long untouched. This room has no furnishings except for a worn bench, a woolen blanket neatly folded, and a brass spyglass long set in place. It points out to sea, though there is nothing in sight, yet still it waits. A small plaque beneath the spyglass reads, "For the one that never came." You sit, and as you do, you notice a drawer in the base of the bench. It opens without resistance. Inside is a map, not of lands, but of currents, not of places, but of possibilities. Across its surface are paths drawn in gentle spirals, waves inked in lines that look more like breaths than borders. In the corner, a small mark, a dream ship, etched in silver thread, stitched so delicately it almost vanishes in the lantern light. Beside the map is a note, folded over twice and sealed, not with wax, but with a pressed flower, faded, pale lavender, yet still carrying a faint scent. You lift the note and open it slowly. It reads, "The ship was meant to arrive on a night like this, quiet, with the light turning. I had tea ready, a fire. The last lanterns lit. I waited and waited. The ocean never told me why." You sit with the silence a long while, letting the sea breeze comb gently through your hair. Somewhere far below, the tide hums softly against the cliffside rocks. It doesn't crash. It sings. Once, long ago, or perhaps never at all, a ship was meant to arrive at this lighthouse. The keeper, who had watched the dream sea longer than time could measure, had received no letter, no signal, no flag on the horizon, only a feeling, subtle tug in the air, a hush between turns of the light, a stillness that felt like anticipation. So he prepared. He readied the guest room, laid out linens that smelled faintly of lavender and rain, dusted the shelves in the sitting room, took down a second teacup. He even wrote an entry in the logbook, not dated, not titled, just felt. He wrote, "Tonight, there will be 2 cups." And for hours, he stood at the lookout. The spyglass trained east, toward the place where dreams cross into night, where forgotten travelers, guided by the lighthouse light, sometimes found their way home. But no shape broke the water. No sails gleamed under the stars. No footstep echoed on the cliff path, just the light, turning, waiting. The locals had their stories. They always do. Some say the ship was a vessel of memories, collected from 100 sleeping souls, each offering a thread of longing or hope. Others believe it carried a single dreamer who'd wandered too far, unable to wake, seeking a light to return by. And some say the ship was never real, that the keeper simply imagined it, that he needed something to wait for. But if you listen closely to the wind that slides through the lighthouse walls, if you lean toward the open window on nights when fog curls thick and silver across the waves, you might hear the sea whisper a name no one remembers during the day, a name that doesn't belong to anyone living, a name that only the keeper knows. The room darkens gently as a passing cloud drapes itself over the moon. You feel the hush deepen. Drawn by quiet instinct, you stand and return to the hall. There's another door, slightly ajar. Inside, you discover a gallery of painted sails, not canvases, but full sailcloths hung like banners. Each one tells a different story. Stitched and faded into the fabric are moments. A child releasing a paper boat, an old man watching the tide for someone who never returned, a bird caught between flying and remembering how. You run your fingers across a patch of cool cloth. A gentle image unfolds, a deck under starlight. No crew in sight, only an open journal resting atop a coiled rope. The page reads, "We follow light we may never reach." You step back, and as you do, you hear it. Creak of a timber, groan of wind against a mast. Impossible. And yet, you follow the sound down a narrow passage. It leads you outside to the overlook behind the lighthouse. There, in the distance, the fog parts, just for a moment, a silhouette. A ship? No, a memory of one. Its shape is blurred, as though made from moonlight and breath. Its sails don't catch wind, but stardust. It moves without wake. Then, like mist disturbed by a footfall, it fades again, gone, as if it had never been. But you saw it, or dreamed it, or remembered it from a dream you haven't yet had. You return to the lighthouse's warmth. The spyglass still waits. The blanket, now draped over your shoulders, carries the scent of old wool and comfort. And in your hand, still, is the pressed flower from the keeper's note. You press it between your fingers and feel, not sadness, but a soft kind of acceptance, like remembering someone who once sat across from you in silence and smiled, and then quietly disappeared into the fog. Later, back in the logbook room, you find a small shelf near the wall. One book is tucked deeper than the rest. It's smaller, bound in pale blue cloth. Inside are sketches of ships that never came, names written in looping script beneath each. The wayward star, the second morning, the lantern's end, the gentle vessel, the one who listens. You trace the names with your eyes. They feel like stories waiting to be told, or maybe stories that were told and simply drifted out of reach. Outside, the fog grows thicker. The light turns again and again. The keeper is nowhere to be seen, but you feel him near, like someone humming just out of hearing, keeping rhythm with the sea. You sit once more on the bench, and for a moment, you understand. Some lights are not meant to be seen. Some ships are not meant to arrive. Some stories are not meant to end, only to be waited for. And in that waiting, there is peace. You close your eyes and breathe in the hush. The sea whispers, and the lighthouse waits. You step beyond the edge of the lighthouse garden, where the path gently curves toward the sea. The stones underfoot are damp and cool, smooth as if worn down by centuries of dreamers who walked here before you. The sky is dim now, and in between color, not quite night and not quite day. And then, as if summoned by your breath, the fog begins to roll in. At first, it's just a hush, a slight blurring of the horizon where ocean meets sky. But soon, it gathers and thickens, curling around your feet like pale ribbon. Then higher still, waist deep, shoulder high, until all the world around you dissolves into a soft, shifting gray. The fog doesn't come with cold. It's warm, almost like breath. It doesn't press against you or weigh heavy on your skin. It simply is a silent companion, surrounding and cradling you like a memory you haven't had yet. Each footstep feels hushed now, muffled by the mossy ground and wrapped in woolen air. You pause and listen. There's no wind, no gulls, no rustling trees or distant waves, just fog and the faintest sound of a whisper. It's not a voice exactly, but it feels like one. A softness brushing past your ear, a feeling that someone once stood beside you, long ago, or maybe just now. You can't be sure if the whisper came from behind or ahead, or inside. You continue walking slowly, with no clear direction. The path has vanished, the sea, the lighthouse, even the garden, gone in the shifting light. Yet you do not feel lost. The fog is not a wall, it is a veil. And behind that veil, something stirs. A faint echo rises again, gentle, like someone calling a name they aren't sure you'll remember. The voice doesn't sound urgent, only hopeful. It makes you think of long forgotten friends, of rooms you once loved, of lullabies half remembered. Then, through the mist, you see it, a shape, tall, faint, like a figure. No, like a memory of a figure. You stop. The shape does too. It doesn't speak. It doesn't move. It simply stands there, waiting, as if offering you the chance to remember it. But you don't. Not yet. You close your eyes and breathe in. The scent in the air changes, something like sea lavender and driftwood, old paper and candle smoke, a smell that speaks of stillness and stories. When you open your eyes again, the shape is gone. but another has taken its place. This one is smaller, hunched, wrapped in a shawl that seems woven of fog itself. Child? An old woman? You're not sure. Again, no face, just a suggestion of presence, of a soul still lingering, hoping, waiting to be seen. The fog, you realize, is not empty. It holds stories, forgotten ones, lives that once mattered, or still do. You begin to notice more shapes drifting through the mist. Some are walking, some are seated, some just stand, listening to something only they can hear. None of them speak, but none of them seem sad. You feel no fear, only quiet, and something more, something close to understanding. These are echoes, yes, but not of tragedy, not of loss. They are echoes of presence, of meaning, of having been. The fog, you understand now, is a place between, a space where forgotten things wait to be remembered. Not urgently, not desperately, but patiently, like old friends sitting at a table long after the meal has ended, simply content to remain. As you walk further, the whispers become clearer. Not words, but feelings. They pass through you, not to haunt, but to warm. You hear the soft laugh of a mother who once rocked a child in a chair by the fire. You feel the quiet love of two souls who once held hands here, saying nothing and everything at once. You taste the salt of tears shed long ago, not from sorrow, but from release. And then you hear something familiar. Low at first, then slowly rising. You can't place the tune, but it calms you. It feels like something your bones remember. A lullaby, perhaps, or a song the keeper might have once whistled as he turned the great light above. You follow the sound. It leads you through the mist until you reach a clearing, or perhaps the fog has simply lifted here, just enough to show you a circle of smooth stones. In the center, a lantern flickers on a short iron pole, its flame steady, golden. You sit beside it. The silence deepens. The echoes hush. You realize that, here in this place, things are not lost. They are simply resting, waiting to be gently touched by memory. You close your eyes and allow them to drift around you. Someone sits beside you now. You do not open your eyes. You don't need to. The presence is kind, warm. A familiar silence stretches between you. Perhaps it is the keeper. Perhaps it is someone you once were, or someone you still are, in a version of time not yet written. Eventually, the fog begins to thin. You feel it loosening around you, lifting like the corners of a curtain at dawn. The sea returns first, a soft hush of water against rock, then the smell of salt and stone, then the path beneath your feet, gently revealing itself again. You rise. Behind you, the clearing fades. The lantern remains. You look back once more, not to cling, but to thank. The echoes seem to nod, and then they vanish into the rising wind. You walk onward. The lighthouse stands ahead, its light sweeping across the thinning mist. The beam catches your face for a moment, and in that moment, you feel something deep and still, like having been truly seen. You know now, nothing is ever truly forgotten. The fog only holds what needs to be remembered gently, and tonight it held you. The air is unusually still tonight, as if even the wind is holding its breath. At the top of the spiraling staircase, you arrive once again at the lantern room, where the great lens turns slowly in its age-old rhythm. It casts a beam so soft and golden that it seems less a light and more a memory, stretching across the horizon to no one in particular, simply because it must. The lighthouse does not falter. It does not ask for purpose. It just continues. You step inside. The silence is warm here, not cold. The walls are thick with years, but they do not weigh on you. They embrace you, gently, like a woolen blanket that has seen decades of winters and knows just how to rest upon your shoulders. The keeper is already there. You do not see him enter. It is as if he has always been here, waiting. Standing beside the great lantern, he watches the light make another slow revolution. His coat is simple, his hands weathered, his face kind. He does not speak at first, but his presence speaks volumes of watchfulness, of time kept not in minutes, but in memories. He gestures quietly to a small table in the corner. Upon it rests a silver teapot, gently steaming, 2 cups, a folded napkin. No ceremony, just offering. You sit, the seat is smooth and slightly warm, like someone had just risen from it. The keeper pours the tea. It smells of herbs you cannot name, something like lavender, but older, something like thyme, but more thoughtful. It is a scent that reminds you of calm rain and of being remembered. He finally speaks, and his voice is not what you expected, not low and ancient, but soft and timeless, as if the wind and the sea had combined to form words. The light does not need to be seen to be true. You nod, not quite sure why you understand, but you do. The tea warms your hands. The silence becomes richer, like velvet. You feel that if you closed your eyes now, you would drift not into sleep, but into some older layer of your own memory, a room within yourself that you had long forgotten. The keeper does not speak often, but when he does, it feels like the world leans closer to listen. We do not shine to guide, he says after a long pause. We shine to remember. You look out through the glass, at the rolling dark sea below, at the soft sky stretched open like a canvas painted in indigo and silver. The beam of light sweeps across the horizon, touching nothing, touching everything. You wonder aloud, why do you stay? The keeper smiles, and the lines at the corner of his eyes fold like old maps. He looks down into his teacup and says, not with sadness, but with deep calm, because even the forgotten need to be kept. A hush falls again. The turning of the light becomes a lullaby, a slow metronome for the soul. You sip the tea and feel something inside you settle, a part of you that didn't even know it was restless until now. Then, without thinking, you begin to speak. You share stories, fragments of dreams, moments you thought were too quiet to matter. You speak of nights when you, too, kept watch, not in a tower, but in your mind, of losses and love and little things you thought no one remembered. The keeper listens, not with his ears, but with his presence. You feel heard in a way that has no words. Outside, the sea makes no demands. The stars blink patiently, and the light continues. You notice something then. The keeper has no shadow. Or perhaps it's that the light makes everything too soft to cast one. He reaches into a drawer and takes out something wrapped in old cloth. Slowly, he unwraps it. Inside is a compass, not the kind that points north, but one that seems to glow faintly, pulsing with a rhythm that matches your own heart. For when you go, he says simply, offering it to you, not to find your way, but to remember that you're never lost. You accept it without hesitation. It feels like it belongs to you already, like it's simply come home. Outside, the night deepens. The sea sighs. The tea is gone, but its warmth lingers. The keeper stands. So do you. You do not hug. You do not say goodbye. The moment doesn't ask for it. Instead, you walk together to the edge of the lantern room, looking out over the quiet ocean. The light makes one last arc across the deep, and then something shifts. Not the wind, not the light, not the sea. You shift, not forward, not backward, inward. It feels like a soft door has opened inside you, and all at once, you are the lighthouse, and the cliff, and the sea, and the one who has waited, and the one who has arrived. You are not this moment. You are every moment that led here. When you finally turn back to the keeper, he is no longer beside you, but you do not feel alone, because the light does not fade, even when unseen, even when unneeded, even when the world moves on. It simply continues. And now, it shines in you too. As you walk down the spiral steps once more, your body is heavier, but not tired, just full, like a cup that's been filled to the brim with something warm and ancient. Each step creaks softly, the same way it did when you entered, but now you recognize the sound as music, as memory, as a song only you can hear. Down below, the garden awaits. So do the paths, the sea, the stars. But first, one last look back at the light above. It still turns. It always will. The first step down from the lighthouse feels different from all the others you've taken. Not heavier, not lighter, just deeper, as though the very act of descending is pulling you inward as much as outward, through the winding stair, yes, but also through a path made of something older, something made not of stone, but of memory. The lantern room above glows faintly behind you, casting its final warm halo across your back. You do not turn to look again, not because you don't want to, but because some quiet part of you knows. The light will always be there. It needs no checking. You step downward. The air begins to shift. It folds like soft linen around your shoulders. The walls breathe in silence. Each footstep echoes, not in the tower, but in you. The spiral stair begins to soften, blur at the edges, like mist. You are no longer sure if you are walking through the lighthouse or through yourself. At the threshold where you once first entered, time begins to move strangely. Out through the arched door you step, and the world is exactly the same and completely different. The cliffs stretch, before you again. The sea is still there, murmuring its ceaseless lullaby. The sky is soft indigo glowing from within, but something is reversed, tilted, like watching a tide draw back into the ocean after a long pause on shore. You begin to walk, only now the journey is not forward. You are returning, but not to where you began. Instead, you are walking through a sequence of still dreams, each one gently unfolding in reverse, like petals curling back into a bud. First comes the garden, but not as it was when you explored it in Chapter 2. Now, the flowers, those strange moonlit blossoms that only bloomed at night, are closing softly as you pass. Their petals pull inward, their scents fading slowly like forgotten lullabies. The wind moves backward too, brushing past your face in reverse, carrying the memories of the stories you heard here, but unspooling them. The sound of crickets reverts to silence. Lanterns that once flickered gently now dim, retreating into shadow. Leaves return to their branches. The paths reknit themselves, yet nothing feels lost. Instead, it feels as though the garden is saying goodbye in its own way, not erasing itself, but folding back into its resting state, like a memory that no longer needs to stay at the surface. You walk slowly, hands brushing the vines, feeling their warmth before it vanishes. And still, the path beneath your feet glows faintly, not from light, but from recognition. This ground knows you now. Farther down, the fog begins to rise again, but this time, it doesn't arrive as mist curling up from the sea. It emerges inwardly, as if you are passing through layers of your own thoughts, your own silences. Voices drift in once more, soft, distant, tender. Only now they are retreating. A whisper you once heard here, a question never fully answered, plays itself backward in your mind like a lullaby unsung. You do not fear the fog. You welcome it. It wraps around you like memory, cool and weightless. You close your eyes and see flashes of what came before. The keeper, silent beside you. The logbook and its entries made of feelings. The sea's voice whispering of a ship that never came. Tea beside the great lantern. A light that shines for no one, and yet for everything. These images pass not like film, but like breath, and then fade gently, not away, but inward. They are becoming part of you now. As you descend farther, you reach the cliff path once more. The black pebbles crunch softly underfoot, but the sound is backwards now, like echoes returning to their source. Above, the lighthouse stands behind you, still, tall, kind. Ahead, the sea waits as it always does, only now it seems reflective, not like a mirror, but like a memory just below the surface, asking nothing, offering everything. The breeze returns, curling your hair back from your face, and with it comes a scent. Salt, yes, but also smoke. Candle smoke, old parchment, the garden, the keeper, your own quiet hope. You pause. There is a stone here, smooth and dark, and you feel drawn to sit. You do? The sea stretches in front of you, And now you begin to understand this walk, this gentle backward movement through space and thought. It is not just retracing, it is remembering, not just the lighthouse or the keeper or the chapters before, but remembering yourself, the version of you who arrived, the version of you who was unsure, the version of you who needed the light and found it. You look out at the waves, and for a moment, you glimpse something beneath them, a ship, or maybe the echo of one, moving slowly, still searching. But now you know, some ships never arrive because their destination was never a place. It was a memory, a light, a moment like this one. When you rise, the garden is gone. The fog has passed. The air is clear again. But your heart is full, not heavy. The path continues behind you, disappearing into the slow dusk. The stars are beginning to arrive, each one blinking gently, like soft pulses from the lantern room above. You walk slowly now, not from fatigue, but reverence. The world is not rushing you. Every step feels sacred. Each stone beneath your foot has held stories. Each gust of wind carries the keeper's presence. Each grain of time folds itself into your skin, asking nothing in return. You understand something now. Nothing is truly forgotten. Not the dream ships, not the old hopes, not the voices in the fog, not even you, especially not you, even in silence, even in stillness, even in sleep, you are remembered. The final turn of the path opens to the soft meadow beneath the lighthouse, the place you began, or perhaps where you were always meant to return. The stars are higher now. The grass glows faintly, kissed by moonlight, and in the center, a small spot waits, a patch of earth shaped gently, perfectly, for rest. You go to it. You lie down, not in exhaustion, but in invitation. Above, the light from the tower passes overhead one final time. It brushes across your form, warm, golden, eternal. And as your eyes begin to close, you hear something again. Not a voice, not even words, just presence. The keeper is watching, not near, not far, just always. The sea continues its lullaby. The stars flicker like breath, and in your heart, the entire journey plays once more, not from beginning to end, but all at once, because you now know time is not a line. It is a lighthouse, turning, shining, remembering, forever. And so you sleep, softly, fully, hum. The sea still sighs, in long, slow breaths, like an ancient creature dreaming in its sleep. Far above, the lighthouse turns steadily, a slow circle of memory and light, casting its glow over the dream sea one final time tonight. The rhythm of the lens is soft and steady, like a heartbeat that never wavers. You lie nestled in the meadow just below the tower, where the garden once bloomed in secret. The grass cradles you gently, and the night flowers release their final fragrance into the air. Notes of lavender, old rain, and something sweeter still, something like memory itself. Above, the stars shimmer in perfect stillness. No rush, no urgency, just quiet presence. Each one flickers with gentle purpose, a soul at rest, a wish remembered, a light that never asked to be seen, only to be. The keeper watches from high above, his silhouette framed in golden lantern glow. He does not speak, but his presence is a comfort, calm, eternal, kind. The light makes its final sweep over you, casting one last warm glow across your form like a lullaby laid down in light. And the world fades, not to black, not to nothing, but to silver, to quiet, to peace. You are home now. No arrival, no departure, only presence, only rest. Thank you for walking with us. We'll leave the light on, just in case you ever wish to return. Sweet dreams.